So any questions about the supply chain report results? You look like you're thinking about it, John.
I do have a quick question, just kind of thinking through where we are with decentralization and delivering services at more of the local level and the need to readjust or decentralize the supply chain and develop these distribution sites outside of the larger facility, regional hubs, also facility hubs. I'm wondering, did you look at or have you thought through this issue of decentralization and the challenges for the supply chain and moving into a more community-based pharmacy delivery model and what that would look like in a low-resource setting? And were there any models that you saw that might be helpful and instructive in that?
We didn't specifically look at the issue of decentralization per se. One of the evaluations that we looked at did discuss some of the effects of decentralization on staff morale and ability of staff to move from one area to another. But we didn't specifically focus on that issue.
I think, the main point is that information just needs to be managed better. Record keeping needs to be at all levels. There needs to be focus on record keeping, and I think across all the reports, really, for people to understand why the data needs to be collected at every level and why it's critical. That the consumption, exactly what consumption data is, and there are ways to forecast the need for sure. And we've done it relatively effectively. But in order to expand this program and provide more drugs to more patients, I think we've come to the conclusion of this that a greater focus on correct record keeping and inventory control at all level will allow that to happen, allow a greater number of sites to manage ARVs, and maybe we can move beyond the current model in many countries.
Any other questions, comments specific to the supply chain report? Okay, well, we'll move on to the next phase of the session. What we thought that we would do is Kimberly and I are going to offer just some reflections about where there is overlap and complementarity between these bodies of work. And we're going to kind of tag team it a little bit and go through pretty much report by report, but also we'll literally tag team it. Also identifying some things that are cross-cutting both across the reports, but also across the kind of whole of PEPFAR perspective that we took in the IOM evaluation. So we're going to go through that pretty quickly, and the hope is also that that will just be kind of triggering food for thought for the discussion that comes later. So I'll let Kimberly start, and we'll go from there.